Is it broken? Not yet. Alright, hello and welcome back to Is It Broke Not Yet. So what I've got set up here is we've got a version 1.0 original Xbox, and today we're going to Rocky 5 soft mod it, then we're going to tsop mod it, and then with an Executor 2019 disc and the help of a 500 gig hard drive, compliments of a Apple server tower. This is actually my last one. I bought these in a set, or I bought 6 of them, and 5 of them worked. This is the last one. Steve, actually, you have the second to last one. That is my last tsop mod out there that I sold. This is going to probably end up with my personal collection until I re-up on some more hard drives. So what we have is right here. I've got my USB to original Xbox adapter dongle with a flash drive. This is a 512 megabyte flash drive. For the original Xbox, it's recommended not to go over 2 megabytes of storage on a flash drive, or else the Xbox just won't be able to read it. So I actually ordered this off eBay. Ordered these together. It's less than $5. It's not bad. There are several different games that you can use to do this. I am using 007 Agent Under Fire. You can also use the original Splinter Cell, not the second. I believe Tony Hawk's Underground 2, and there's another one. I can't remember off the top of my head. But basically you're saving the Rocky 5 save data for, there's like 4 games on here. I'll tell you when I go to save them. You save the data to the Xbox hard drive. You put the disc in. You load it. You then exit it. You go into the load game area on the game menu, and it'll pop up and say Linux. You hit select, and then there's some more steps to go from there. And I'll actually do this is a full tutorial on how to do this. It's probably going to be a little bit of a long video. Not exactly sure when I'll have it out, either today or tomorrow. So yeah, let's get into it. Here's my camera stand that I made out of an old lamp and my hip clip. So I'm going to get my Xbox set up over here so we can hook it up to the TV, and we're going to soft mod it, and then we're going to crack it open and we're going to hard mod it. So let me get this set up. Okay, so I'm here in the memory setup of the original Xbox. I have it set up down here just below the camera, near the clown. And right here I've got the memory card accessed. It's in the memory or controller ports 4. And we've got Agent Under Fire, Mecha Assault, Splinter Cell, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, and then these soft modding tools. You're going to want to just go ahead and copy all of this over to your hard drive. Because if one of these games doesn't work and it ends up semi-bricking your system, I've had it happen before where I can put any game into the disk drive and it'll load the game, but it will not operate or load into the dashboard whatsoever. So it could still play games, but that was it. So just download all of them, transfer them all over to your memory card or to your hard drive, because if one of these games doesn't work and you semi-brick it, you can try a different game, and sometimes that can get it to work. So what you want to do is go over to the actual save and copy that over. And you're going to want to, again, do that for all of them. It just helps verify that you can still soft mod your system if you say your game doesn't work halfway through. So yeah. So I'm copying everything over, and the last one does take a little bit longer because that's the whole soft mod toolkit. Alright, so then once you've transferred all those over, you want to go into your hard drive and just make sure that they're there, because as you can see, there's other stuff here. This was a used system, somebody played it, they saved all sorts of stuff. So just make sure that all your stuff is here. It's funny, they actually played Mecha Assault and some of the other games. I'm not sure what that stuff is. There's some demos. There we go. There's our first Splinter Cell Softmod. There's a Softmod tool. So I'm only seeing Splinter Cell actually showing up. But it looks like the Agent Under Fire one is right there. But just to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and just transfer it over again. Just because sometimes I'm paranoid. It says Bond AUF. So, yep. Override it, just make sure. And then we'll go back in here. Bond AUF. Okay. So now that you've got those all over to your Xbox, you want to now choose the game that you're going to load. Again, I'm using 007, Agent Under Fire. I'm going to throw this in the Xbox. And my disk drive is kind of wonky, so it takes a minute. So let me get this loaded up and then I'll show you guys what to do from there. Okay, so I went ahead and kind of just re-angled my camera a little bit. Now you can actually see the Xbox down here because my drive in that thing is a little stuck, so I had to use the old paper clip to pop it open. And that is a crucial step when soft modding the system. If you do not get that disk tray open at the right time, when the blubber comes up after the restart, you've bricked it. It's done. Get another Xbox. I really don't want to do this with this one because it is a 1.0. It's got the 1 megabyte tsop chip in it, and I want to take full advantage of that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this going. So once the game starts, you want to go through the menu. And a quick another thing, you need an original Xbox controller for this, not a third party. Microsoft. Or else it just doesn't work right. So yeah, so go in there, go to select mission, do the first mission, and just go through all of this. Let it do its thing. As soon as the screen starts going back over to the cutscene, right here, go ahead and hit start and quit mission. And yes, you are sure. Now again, we're getting to the part where it's going to start getting tricky. Now, we've loaded all of our stuff, so now we can go into the Xbox hard drive disk, and that's going to load. And as you can see, the light on the Xbox went red. That means it's working so far. And then boom, there you go, Xbox soft modding tool. Now it says thank you for choosing. If you come back with any feedback or bugs, let them know. But we're going to go ahead and get through this. So hit A, and it is extracting. Okay, now it's going to pop up with this. It says important info. Your EEPROM backup will be placed in the EEPROM backups e-file backups / EEPROM. Now, if you're going to be changing your hard drive, make a copy of that on your computer. Save it. I have probably 4 of them, maybe 5 of them, of these EEPROM backups saved because of how many systems I have or have. When I do these tsop systems, when I sell them, I send the original hard drive with it. That way, if there's any problems with the hard drive I've installed, they can throw that original hard drive back in, and the system still runs and everything. They just got to get another hard drive and use the Hexen disk that I also include with your purchase in there. So make sure that you back up your EEPROM. Doesn't, just it's a simple file. Save it somewhere important. Back it up. Now. Okay, now it's going to say the EEPROM BIM is required to create a new hard drive in your system in case your hard drive dies. You need that EEPROM. See, I was just talking about this. You need this because your hard drive will be unlocked after you do this. and your Xbox needs it to be locked in order for it to work. So you understand that now. I said it's all done. You're soft-modded. So told you it was painless. Now, this is the important part. It says right here, but now I need to restart the Xbox. When you see the green flubber animation, take the disk out. That means eject. If you don't, you will brick your system. I've done it. It sucks. So don't do it. I'm going to re-angle my camera here. Let's see. And I'm going to go over to the Xbox. You're probably going to see my face. I'm not pretty by any means. So bear with me and don't be rude in them comments. Alright, so here I am. Maybe a little lower. Probably see me a bit better now, right? Okay. So, we're going to hit the A button as we understand that this will brick our system if we do not take that disk out in the prompt time. So, hit A. The system is now restarting. As soon as that flubber pops, pull that disk out. Yep, just like that. Don't care if it spins, you can get another copy. They're very cheap, but you have to pull that disk out in that time. If not, your system's done. And if you did it successfully, you'll see this. Now I'm going to get back over here and adjust my camera. Okay, so if you did it right, yeah, you're going to see this. This is doing exactly what it needs to do. It's making your Xbox work correctly. It's going to restart. Make sure you keep that game out. Let it do its thing. And then when it's done, we're going to throw this Hexen disk in it because right now we're using Rocky 5 to soft-mod our system. We're going to go ahead and throw this Hexen disk in there just to give it another clean sweep here. So there we go. We've got Rocky 5. So you can see here, sorry, camera's out of focus. Rocky 5, this is a version 1.0. That's awesome. We're using Rocky 5 version 1.16. And it is fully working. As we can see here, we've got basically nothing in it right now because we have not created anything. So like I said, I'm going to throw this Hexen disk in there. And we're going to kind of set up some things on it just to give a quick kind of preview. I mean, right now it's soft modded. I can throw a game backup in there and it'll work just fine. But I'm going to throw some extra stuff in there just to kind of give you guys a quick preview. So let me throw this Hexen 2019 disc in. Let's see how this DUD-R should work just fine. Yeah, see, there it goes. Hexen, True Hexen 2019. We're going to launch that. And again, be patient. It does take a minute for it to pop up. Your Xbox is going to turn red. The ring on it is. That's normal. It's going to change colors a lot. You can actually go into your settings and change that yourself, which is actually kind of cool. Like my personal Xbox is green. It's got the green case, so I've got green LEDs. The front menu is LED is all green all the time, except for when I'm FTP things to my home server. It does turn orange for that. But again, it's taking its time. Be patient. As long as your disk drive is in working order, everything should work good. So there we go. We've got a full system here, and again, it's showing shows our CPU temperatures and motherboard temperatures. It is in Celsius. You can change it to Fahrenheit if you choose. Here in the U.S., Seattle to be precise, Fahrenheit. Do not have it hooked up to the internet. Again, Xbox version 1.0 tells me it has a tsop, a 1 megabyte chip. And then we've got all our options here. Can't see them too much. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Come on. And angle. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. So we've got everything here that you would need to tsop. Right now it is not tsopped yet, but once we do, we're going to go into all this and we're going to talk about the WinBond. Hopefully we don't have a sharps because those are pains in the butts. So we'll do all that. But right now we've got soft mod tools. here's all of the little extra things for your Softmod. But yeah, that's it. This Xbox is fully soft modded. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it back over here to my workbench and gonna pull some more of it apart. Gotta get the motherboard apart. And let me get the camera out of my stand. And yeah, we will go from there. So I'll get it set up in just a moment. I'm still zoomed in. Zoom out. There we go. That's much clearer. All right. All right, so here we are back at the workbench. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this all pulled out of here, the hard drive, disk drive, optical drive, sorry. And then we've got to get the motherboard out so that we can start the tsop process. There's two different points on the motherboard in which we have to solder just two little points together, very small. So I've got some small solder here. I'll get my soldering iron heated up after we get this stuff pulled apart, and we'll go from there. So I'm just going to discuss a little bit as we go through here. This is just a standard 40 pin IDE cable. Sometimes these can get stuck in there a little bit, so just be patient, kind of go slow. Here's the original hard drive again. I save all these. This will be marked for what box it is. This is kind of a helper right here because it bears the same sticker on the actual board. So I always keep those. So far what we've got here is a power supply for the version 1.0 board. You can always tell that if it's a 1.0 and a 1.1 is they have a single strip here on the actual power connector. All other revisions have a 2x2 pin. And this power board was actually salvaged out of a different 1.0 board I had because it had power and this one didn't. And the other motherboard, something had happened to it. Somebody tried to modify soft mod, hard mod, something, and something was done incorrectly, and that was it. Yeah, it was just done. Try to keep all your screws together, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I'm stripping this whole thing out because there's a lot of, I'm sure you can see, a lot of rust on this cage here, so we're going to actually pull this all out. My systems, I don't even have this in there. It really doesn't need too much. As long as you keep it away from other electronics, you don't like stack your game systems on top of each other while they're working. The closest thing I have to my system is my Wii, and that thing is never really on. So yeah, just be cautious with that if you do take out the cage. I have other cages that I could throw in here, but I don't really need to. This is a working optical drive. I'm probably going to take it apart. It needs greased up again, but that's probably for a later date. I do have other optical drives that work better, so I might just end up switching that one out. Let me set that aside. So here we are. Here is the 1.0 motherboard. As you can see, you can always tell that it's a 1.0 or 1.1 by this right here. This is the GPU fan, and none of the other systems have that. So that's a good way to tell what kind of board you're working with right off the bat. Other than that, the only other difference you're going to come around, sorry if you guys couldn't hear me, is right here, the clock capacitor. Previous owner went ahead and removed that. I don't know if that was Steve or not. But somebody removed the clock capacitor. I'm actually going to clean it up a bit more because there is some residue there. So that's one thing I don't have to do. But yeah, so we're going to get this cleaned up, and it's like somebody may have put some solder on this LPC pin header position. But yeah, let's go ahead and finish taking this apart. Again, 1.0 motherboards and 1.1s are the only ones that are going to have this. Be careful when you're playing with this stuff if you don't discharge it. I didn't discharge it, but if you touch some of these, you could get a little bit of a shock. It is powerful. It's electricity. Caution. Set that aside in a safe-ish place. So now we've got some controller ports. Those are right here off of this board, which is another thing that you're not going to see on other motherboards. Is, let's see if this one, yeah, this one wants to come off just fine. Is this right here? This is only used on the 1.1 and 1.0 boards. After that, they integrated it right into the motherboard, so you don't actually need this. So yeah, because instead of just cooking it right there like you should be able to, they ran it through this extra board. So make sure you don't damage anything. Set that aside. And since I'm removing the cage and everything, I'm going to go ahead and pull out these controller ports. And that's really not a hard problem. It's just 2 screws. Kind of lift up and then just wiggle it a little bit, because there is a plastic pin under there that you can just come right off right there, and that just helps align it. But I've always got a baggie of those, and those are always good to have just lying around sometimes, because I've got a lot of projects going on. Like I just picked up 2 Xboxes from Steve yesterday. I took the family over to, what is that, Skyview. It's a drive-in theater over near Shelton. Took the family over there, see some movies. And while we were over there, I met up with my guy Steve, and I gave him a backup copy of a game so he can test it in his Dreamcast and see if it needs to be pot tweaked or if he wants to put a mod chip in it. He's not sure yet. But he dropped me off with 2 Xboxes, 2 original Xboxes. One of them has a Executor 3, he believes, in it. I'm not sure if he's opened it up to verify yet. I have not. But he says that it doesn't want to load right. It just goes straight to the Microsoft dashboard. No other options pop up. And he doesn't have the skill to check it out yet. So I told him I would take a look. And right now it's still sitting down in my car, unfortunately, but it's safe. I live in a secured building, so secure access and everything. I'll try to get this thermal fan off of here without busting anything. There we go. Because that sucker is a doity. I'll probably end up redoing thermal paste while I'm in here, because this board is fairly dirty. But as you can see, I'm just proceeding along here. I've got the power supply out, got the GPU fan out, the CPU fan is unhooked from its pin connector. One little mod I've seen people do with these original Xboxes, they put an 80mm fan in here, which can help with the airflow. But you can get LEDs and RGB and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of neat. I thought about doing it for my green Xbox, getting a clear 80mm by 15mm fan, 2-pin, which is a hard part. I think I can only get a 3-pin, but that shouldn't be a problem, because the Xbox actually is set up on a 3-pin. The fan just uses 2. So it should be plug and play. If not, I can move some pins around and repower it somehow. But I thought that'd be kind of neat. It would definitely go along with my green theme on the Xbox, since it's green. But yeah, enough of that. We're going to continue on with this. I've got one more screw after this, and then the motherboard should just pop out of here, because everything else is disconnected. Let's see here, and be gentle, because it's old. Feels like we've got a little resistance. Don't see any more screws. So what is holding us? Oh, right there. I did miss one. Silly. Alright. That's why you always go careful. Alright, let's try that again. Okay, there we go. Careful. And the only thing really holding it in up here is just the cage has some clips, pins, and squeezes on it. But it looks fairly clean. Let's see. Okay, so they didn't desolder it, but that's not a problem. This is a 1.1 motherboard. It is not a sharp, so that's good. But it's got lots of dust on it, so we're gonna go ahead and clean that up. But for now, I'm actually gonna set it aside because we're gonna finish doing this case real quick, and that just involves pulling this the rest of this shroud out. And in order to do that, you have to pull this fan out, which sometimes can be easier said than done. If you don't care about the metal in it, then don't worry about it. Make sure you keep your guard there, though. That's always handy to have. I might have to grab a flathead screwdriver. Oh, maybe not. Let's see. This is always the pain in the ass part, because nothing ever wants to work right when it's old. I know I don't. And yes, I am fairly old. Alright, well, I gotta grab a different tool here. Let's grab a toolbox. Let's try that. Definitely work a little bit better. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Get that sucker pulled out of there, because that definitely needs a clean as well. And then this case should just basically lift up out of here. You might have to finagle it a little bit, but it should just kind of lift right out. There we go. Get some wiggle into it. Make sure you don't pinch that, because that is your on-off button. And there it is. No more rusty shroud. So now we can actually pull this apart and clean it, and we've got some other cleaning we have to do that I'm going to do off camera here, and we're going to start reassembly after that. So I'll get back with you. Alright, thanks for watching part 1. That's it for this one, so part 2 will be out tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment.